Hey friends, this is Hardy with Ninja Everyday, and this is another installment of our Masters of To-Shin Do video series. And I have with me today Dennis Fuutoshi Mahoney, who runs Shinobi Martial Arts in Plastow, New Hampshire.
Plastow, New Hampshire. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking some time to talk to us. I'm really interested to hear some of your martial arts journey, some of your experiences, how you wound up in To-Shin Do, and what are some of the high points and low points in your training. Can you tell us first, what your martial arts history was like?
Yeah, let's see. I started 1983. I got involved in Kempo Karate.
Okay.
And I was in college at that time. And the reason I got started, I played college football, scholarship football.
Okay. Where did you play?
I played Boston University.
Awesome.
And I, after my freshman year, blew up my left knee.
Okay.
So they redshirted me a year, and I wanted to get more flexible. And there was a Kempo school across the street. So I said, all right, I'm going to do this and give it a try. And at the same time, I was bouncing to keep, paying the bills while you're at school, even though I was on scholarship. But, and what was being taught there didn't exactly match what was happening in the bars, And by the time I got a brown belt, that's like 85, 86, something like that, I found Mr. Hayes' books. And I'm reading this book, I'm going, this looks nuts, but it looks interesting. And it took me 2 years. I went from 86 to 88, dropping around all over Boston. There were people claiming to be ninja. And I'd drop in, they weren't ninja. And it was really weird because I was reading I was reading Tulku at a bank that I worked at. And this guy goes, my cousin's a ninja teacher. And I went, yeah, okay.
Sure.
And he gave me his card. And then 2 years later, I read in the old Masubi magazine, Stephen Hayes coming to Boston for the first time. And the name the contact was the guy's cousin, my teacher, Mark Davis.
Okay.
And I had his card for 2 years, never called him.
That's funny.
But I started training in June of 1988 with Mark Davis. And in August of 1988, Mr. Hayes came to Boston for his seminar there. And actually, when you were working out today, you did a technique, and I had a flashback. I went over to Mr. Hayes. I said, that's the first technique I learned from you, except from here. It was a choke around the back. He did the exact same move, ended up behind me.
Wow.
And it was a weird moment because that was the first time I'd ever trained with him. The first thing I learned from him was what you did today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. So from there, let's see, 88. We started training, and have been with Mark Davis. I still see him every Friday when I can make it, and been doing ninjutsu ever since. To-Shin Do.
Now, Mr. Hayes told me when he created and when he developed To-Shin Do as a system, he approached you specifically, and initially you weren't interested in coming on board, but here you are now. What happened?
All right, so Mr. Hayes' To-Shin Do is his program that he started around 96, 97.
Okay.
And prior to that, he had a different program that I was a graduate of, that my teacher was teaching me. And there was even one before that he was teaching, but really didn't have a full-blown curriculum. And we were training, and he came up to Boston, and there was a group of us, and most everybody in Boston had fighting experience. We had a couple of police officers, some security people. We had a couple of guys that were amateur kickboxers. And there's a joke in Boston: if you're not 6 feet tall, 200 plus, you're not one of the instructors. But we're big people, and we were all working out. Mr. Hayes came up for a seminar. It got to be right around 95, 96, and we all went out to dinner that night. He was talking about it. And one of the guys at the table asked him, well, how do you balance off teaching a Navy SEAL with the housewife that, you're talking about? Mr. Hayes simply said, he goes, I'm more concerned with the housewife right now. And they went around the table, and then everyone was polite. He knows me. I'm polite but honest. And I went, I'm more concerned with the Navy SEAL right now, because the guys that I had working with me at the time, there was some crazy people that were really trying to push it. But that was 96, 97, it was a few years back. So we were younger, and we were testing the limits of it. So I had no desire to go into what I thought at the time was a mold, lowering things down. 10 years later, or actually 8 years later, we stopped back, and we came back, and we looked around at what he was doing. I watched the To-Shin Do videos of how he was presenting information. It was genius. It took what we were doing the old historical stuff is powerful stuff, but it was done for a reason. It was solving a problem 1400 or 900 or 1600. It was solving their problem at their time. So you get all this information, and there were too many people just mimicking that instead of trying to figure out how to teach it to us now. And when I saw Mr. Hayes' new videos in, I think it was like 2005, 2006, I was like, wow, this is a genius way of teaching the principles that are underneath everything and bringing it out. And we started training again, and then in 2008, my two partners decided they wanted to do this again. We opened up a To-Shin Do dojo, and the funny thing is now he still harasses me about it. More than 60% of my senior students are housewives, and doing awesome. I mean, I got a dangerous little army of amazing, dangerous women, right? But yeah, we're not teaching Navy SEALs. We got a couple police officers, but it's whoever walks in the door now can get taken care of because of what he changed for us. You know, and that's why I came back, and that's why I'm still here.
Fantastic.
And the fact that Mrs. Hayes can still beat me up, until that ain't gonna stop.
Perfect. Perfect. Do you have any points in your martial arts career that you remember being low points or rough points for you? And do you remember what you did to get through them or get past them?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of it's almost like a sine wave, you know, over the years. There's high points, there's low points. In the beginning, until it kind of hit a wall, then that goes away. But there were points early on where, having been, a college athlete, I was pretty sure of what I was doing. And, you know, my teacher would say, well, your butt's sticking out. No, it's not. I just got a big butt. It's strong. Okay? And he's like, your hand's down. No, it's not. Oh, you got hit in the head. I guess they are. So there was that capability ego. I was good at what I did. And I didn't want to give up. And then there was a point where I just kind of, it wasn't going anywhere. And I was just banging my head into it. And at some point I just went, why am I arguing with this man who's trying to help me? I mean, the patience of my teacher, Mark Davis, and Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, it just blows me away. Now that I've been teaching all these years, I look at them and go, how did they put up with me? Because I was just a dumb, banging my head, you know, young guy going, no, you know, ask questions. And I think at some point I realized they're not correcting me, they're not penalizing me, they're trying to help me. And it was a changing point. It just hit, and I stopped being offended or taking it personal that they were telling me I did this, and going, okay, well, why? And instead of no, I'm not, that went away. Turned, I don't understand. What do I need to do? And I started asking that question.
Okay.
Can you show me that? I don't understand what's the difference. Everything changed, and this world opened up of, you know, we say magic, but it is. I mean, if you go back to old sorcery, the definition was using the natural order to create amazing things. Well, we're using the natural order of gravity and people's personal defense systems and their emotions and how bodies work in space, and using that to defend ourselves instead of defeating somebody. That's pretty magic. And that's where we're at. So that's what's got me through.
If you could go back to that dentist that you were just talking about, that new to martial arts white belt self, what would you tell him? What advice would you give him?
I'd give him a beating. It'd be so much fun too.
Yeah.
Because I think back now, you know, my knees are gone. I'm 55 years old, but I move better now than I did then. That one, it would have been, just listen, give it a chance, try it first. You know, I was very headstrong. I mean, we used to joke about the elements. We talk about the elements. You got earth, water, fire, and fire being very, you know. And my teacher one day was looking around and goes, yeah, this person's kind of earth, and this kind of person's over watery. And he goes, fire. And everyone turned to me and started laughing. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And I was like, oh, relax. Okay. Yeah, no, if I'd listen more, just listen more.
Yep.
Just take it in. Don't have to agree with it, take it in, and then go test it, which is part of what got me past it when I finally got to that point. No, they're not trying to yell at me or punish me. They're trying to help me, and I have to take that, listen to it, and then go, okay, test it. Does that work for me? And then eventually it turns into me because I tested it enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Otherwise, shut up and train. You know?
But at the risk of it being the same answer, what advice would you give to somebody in terms of maximizing their longevity in training? Like, how are they going to be able to train throughout injuries and through later years in life?
First, understand. We have a joke. Mark Davis and I have this joke with like To-Shin Do ninjutsu. We're going to get it at some point, right? No. It's like we have this joke that you're going to be laying there and you're going to be 95, 100 years old lying on my bed and go, I did, man. As soon as I got it, you did. Okay? Because it doesn't end.
Yeah.
So people get stuck. We call them cul-de-sacs. We're on this journey of learning and discovery, right? But every once in a while, someone gets stuck on a thing and goes, you know what? This is my area. And this is what I do. So I got it now. I'm like, yeah, you got that, but the road's over here. So it's just keep willing to look down the road further instead of being comfortable in that one spot. Because otherwise you just drive around in circles in that one spot. So we just keep pushing it, keep going. And because that's what, nin is the endurance to keep going, to endure. You know, so that would be it.
As a leader in To-Shin Do, what do you hope for? Or what do you, and maybe a different answer, what do you see coming for the future in To-Shin Do?
It's a good question because, you know, we are at, I'm not going to say crossroads like something bad's going to happen, but we are at a point in time, you know, we're here celebrating Mr. Hayes' 70th birthday. I'm 55. I used to be the dumb kid punching in for everybody. That's 30-something years ago. The guys that you've talked to, we see ourselves, other than James, we give him trouble, he's still a kid. We see ourselves as a bridge. So there's this beautiful art that is done very specifically, has a thing, but then flourishes completely differently by who's doing it. And we want to make sure when he decides to retire that it keeps going because we devoted our lives to not him. This is not to this art because he didn't teach us to be followers. He taught us to be leaders, and that's what he teaches. It's a very different thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, not Mr. Hayes, aren't you Hayes?" No, we show respect. We love the man. I feel an obligation. He changed my life.
Certainly.
But he doesn't run my life, and we're trying to pass that on. So the ones that are right now at the top, we have this conversation a lot. We're a bridge. And we're looking for guys like you and the younger guys who go, hey, come over this bridge. It's that way. Because we're going to sit down eventually and go ahead. We're going to get in the back of the bus and go, you pull us along, okay? Because we've been doing it long enough. And that's what we're looking for. And I really think, you and I talked a little about this before, there's a martial arts community out there that read Mr. Hayes' books, that got into martial arts because of it. And there's the illusion that you can't be part of it because we're ninja. No. We got to get the invitation out there. We got to let people know. He's open to have anyone come in. It doesn't matter what you've done, if you haven't done, if you have done, it doesn't matter. This is different. And if you want to experience it, come on in. You're welcome. And that's where I want to take it.
Well, tell everybody out there how they can train with you in person and how they could find you online, how they could get more information.
Easy enough, shinobimartialarts.com, SHINOBI martialarts.com. Easy enough.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Mahoney, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Everybody out there, thank you for watching, and until next time, Ninja Every Day.